Iraqis are demanding answers from their government a day after a series of deadly attacks. The bombings killed at least 93 people in Baghdad on Wednesday.
Jim Sciutto reports political upheaval there is making it easy for terror groups like ISIS to thrive.
It was the bloodiest single day in Baghdad in months. Here, the smoke still rising, moments after a suicide attack on a checkpoint killed 12. Earlier, the deadliest strike of the day. More than 60 killed at a busy market in a Shiite neighborhood. Blood soaking the pavement, cars reduced to smoldering hulks. ISIS quickly claimed responsibility for the bloodshed. The attack sparked renewed anger from Iraqis already deeply distrustful of their government. Today's violence coming just days after angry crowds stormed government headquarters inside the capital's heavily fortified green zone, protesting corruption.
Many people were killed, and you can see blood everywhere. There were poor people who were here to earn a living. Why did this happen? Can this corrupt government tell us why? The people are dying because of this government.
Today, the White House blamed the ongoing political struggle in the deeply divided Iraqi government for undermining Iraqi efforts to fight ISIS.
The United States government has been of the strongly held view that the Iraqi government is more likely to be successful in securing the country if they can succeed in uniting that country to face down the threat. That's what Prime Minister Abadi has tried to do.
The attacks come as the terror group has suffered devastating losses on the battlefield. U.S. coalition and Iraqi security forces have driven ISIS out of more than 40% of its territory, including once important power centers in Ramadi and Heat. The result, says the U.S. military, is an ISIS that is less capable of large-scale operations on the battlefield.
It's much smaller groups. Really attempting to, in my mind, stay relevant and to put pressure really to try to fix the Iraqi security forces from continuing to move.
Jim Sciutto, CNN, Washington.
And Jumana Karachi joins us now from Amman, Jordan. Jumana, losses on the battlefield for ISIS clearly not affecting their capability to attack with deadly force. What's the Iraqi government planning to do to protect its citizens from more strikes like this, even though they're in the midst of this political turmoil?
Well, Rosemary, I think we might see what we have seen in the past following other similar devastating attacks. After all, violence has become the norm in Iraq, attacks like this that happen over and over again. And in the aftermath of these attacks, you see Iraqi officials bringing in security officials, questioning them, firing officials, increasing security. But that really doesn't stop these attacks from happening, and that loss of life that we continue to see in Iraq. And as you mentioned, ISIS still has that ability, despite losing ground, despite some of the losses that we have seen in recent months, whether in Iraq or Syria. It still possesses the ability to carry out these high-profile, coordinated and complex attacks, whether like this one that we saw, these 3 attacks we saw in Baghdad on Wednesday, or like we saw last week, those attacks that carried in northern Iraq, complex coordinated ones. So Iraqis here would be expecting their politicians to be providing more, Rosemary. As you know, in Iraq, politics and security are really so closely intertwined, and whatever happens on the political scene is really reflected on the ground and the security situation. So to really weaken ISIS and to go after the group, they need to be doing more than the fight on the battlefield. More needs to happen on the political scene, Rosemary, something that hasn't happened so far.
And that is certainly what people there in Iraq want to see. It is 9:36 there in the morning in Amman, Jordan. Talking to Jumana Karachi, bringing us up to date on that situation. Many thanks.